joining us today. I'm Melissa, and this is The Book Break, and today we are talking to one of my favorite artists, James Artemis Owen, and he's also one of my favorite authors. I'm kind of a fangirl when it comes to James. So he is just so amazing. When he was 16, he started his own comic book company. Tell me about it.
I loved comics and decided pretty early on that that's what I wanted to do. And so my best friend and I decided to start a mail order service with comic books to raise money to be able to publish our own comic book. And then we realized how much more money it was going to take, and we got a bank loan.
At 16?
At 16. We got a bank loan so we could be exhibitors at the San Diego Comic-Con. And I had a family who worked in print and design, and they helped me find a printer, and I wrote and illustrated and published a comic book and started that career. And starting at that age, here at Superstars, we had a panel on comics and graphic novels, and it was myself and Jim Butcher and Kevin J. Anderson.
Yeah.
And they all talked about when they got into comics. And Jim, it's been in the last several years. With Kevin, in 1996. And I suddenly realized I'm the elder statesman of the group for comics because I started in 1986.
Wow. And when did you switch from comics to novels? Because you have, how many novels do you have out?
14 or 15.
And one of your most popular that is, I have to admit, one of my favorites.
Here There Be Dragons was the beginning of the series, the Chronicles of the Imaginarium Geographica. The first prose series I did, though, was called Myth World. And that came about because of a German fan of my comic books who turned out to be a very prominent author named Kai Meyer. And he loved my comics, and he worked out a publishing deal with one of his publishers to do a shared world series called Myth World, and he asked me to write one of the books, and I did, and none of the other authors had done anything on it, so I ended up writing the books in the series.
And what year was that?
Heavens to Betsy, that's 20 years ago.
All right. So.
And the first Myth World book actually won the AI Award for Best International Novel in Germany. But it gave me the experience I needed when I had the chance to write Here There Be Dragons, to write and illustrate at the peak of the abilities that I developed. And I illustrate the books. Every chapter has an illustration. I illustrate the covers. And that's all because of my career in comics, because I was used to illustrating my own stories.
In addition to that, you have some motivational books.
The motivational books came about as a result of the book tour for Here There Be Dragons for Simon & Schuster. And I realized if I had the chance to talk to 400 or 500 students for an hour, I didn't want to just try to sell them books. I wanted to talk to them about things that were more important and long-lasting than that, things that I felt were important to communicate to other human beings about motivating each other and elevating each other and learning to overcome the struggles that you have, that we all have, to do something that you love with your life.
Yeah.
And that became the talk Drawing Out the Dragons, which became the first of 3 books called The Meditations, which are all about that, about overcoming the challenges we all have to do something extraordinary.
And one of the things when I first heard you speak with Drawing Out the Dragons that just impressed me was the story when you were in an accident and your hand was crushed.
Yeah, well, the comic book series that I did a few years after that first run as a teenager, the comic series I did in my 20s was called Star Child. And that was the series that Kai was a fan of that led to writing the novels. But I was only 2 issues into the Star Child career when I did have a car accident and crushed my drawing hand. And everyone in the world said he had a lot of promise, but that's over now.
Wow.
And I had to decide how badly I wanted to do this. And so I spent 4 hours a day for 8 months in physical therapy, putting screws into blocks of wood and pulling them out again to build my muscles up to hold a pencil.
Wow.
And then I laid out a prequel issue of Star Child called issue number 0, left-handed. and got other artists to come in and finish the art for me so that I could keep paying the bills while my hand healed. And I told them, if you'll help me out by inking these drawings so we can publish this book, I will donate all of the art to charity. And the sales, I just had one of the big events here at Superstars is the Eggs Benedict Breakfast, which I host.
Yes.
And I give people cards at the end that have quotes from Drawing Out the Dragons. And one of the quotes this morning was, "Sometimes a catastrophe is just a course correction." And the gentleman who got that card, that alarmed him a little bit, and he said, can you explain this a little bit more? And I told him that story that I just shared with you, and said, Star Child number 1 sold 1,200 copies. Star Child number 2 sold 600. And I needed to sell at least 1,000 just to pay the printing bill. And then I had the accident. And issue number 0 sold 45,000 copies.
Wow.
It established my name, it established my career, it established the title. And then I got reorders for issues 1 and 2 of almost 15,000 apiece.
Wow.
My career was launched because of what seemed to be a catastrophe.
We're in Colorado Springs at the Superstars Writing Conference, where James is one of the founders of this. And I have to say, one of the things that I love about this is we really have this tribe feeling. And I feel like you kind of help lead the way.
Kevin J. Anderson and Rebecca Mesta began this. Their initial partners were Brandon Sanderson, Dave Farland, and Eric Flint. I'm listed as a founder, even though I came in at year 3 because of the talk Drawing Out the Dragons. And one of our attendees made the comment the other night that you're a founder because you founded Superstars culture. And things like Drawing Out the Dragons and the Eggs Benedict Breakfast and Tribe, that I am very proud that those are my contributions to what has become an extraordinary event and one huge family.
I'm so glad that you have all these things. So James A. Owen.
JamesAOwen.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you very much for having me today.
And this is the book break. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Single Payer Healthcare, and this is the healthcare system in America today. Did you know as Americans we pay over twice as much for healthcare as any other country? Twice as much. Now you might think that means we're the best, but does this look like the best in the world? According to the World Healthcare Organization, the United States is 37 in the developed world for healthcare. 37! We need to be better than 37. I want to be a part of the solution. Check out the book, The Purple World by Dr. Joseph Q. Jarvis, and learn how single-payer healthcare can help heal the harm in our American healthcare system.